Yo, everybody, it's your boy Joseph here,
And Carlos,
and this is
the
The
passenger
Passenger
seat.
Seat. All right, welcome back, riders, to another week in The Passenger Seat. Another spectacular week in Spooktober.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah. And this week we're going to be talking about, I think, one of Carlos's favorite topics.
it's one of my favorite video games of all time. We're going to be talking about BioShock. And I know that if you guys have followed us since the beginning, we've talked about BioShock before.
You got this. Oh, what is that? Sending me bombs. Hey, buddy.
Oh, bombing your.
Bombing all weird and stuff. So there's a gangster named Frank
What am I doing?
who eventually just grabs all the people.
We'll put a link up to the video on the top. So if you guys want to rewatch that one, you can too. But we just thought we'd go more into detail because this is one of my favorite video games. So
There you
why
go.
not?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Man, so you go ahead. You get the honors of diving into this.
All right, so we'll be talking about BioShock 1. Well, I know that that's a whole franchise, and we're not going to go too much into detail of the whole franchise. We'll talk about what really set the footprint for BioShock, and that's the first game. So the game came out in 2007 under the development of 2K Boston, which you guys know 2K Games. They've had many successful games. It is no longer called that now. I think they are called
Irrational Games.
Irrational Games. I didn't read much about the decision of why they changed it. Maybe you did.
I mean, a lot of companies do that. They start off with something and then they branch off into like their own, developing
I see
company.
what you mean because 2K isn't their own game. I see what you mean.
Yeah,
That makes sense. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So BioShock is basically a first-person shooter game, but with a little twist of horror and thriller, and this kind of like realm of basically watching every corner because you know it's like Outlast and like Dead Space and like these type of games. So for those of you who haven't played, this is a general like feeling of the game. It's one of those games.
Yeah.
So the series was predominantly created by Ken Levine. He had this idea when he was a liberal arts major. I know, liberal arts major. He was in New York, and all of a sudden he saw all these different statues, and he got really into Americana and Gothic art. So he decided to do this whole steampunk world, which eventually turned into Rapture and all the other characters that come with it. So that's all the details for that. And since we're diving into Rapture, let's go ahead and talk about the story.
Yeah. So obviously, we have our main character Jack. He's on a plane, and basically the plane crashes. He falls into the ocean, and he's the only survivor. He sees a lighthouse, which he manages to swim to. And then he's what was it? A submarine? He gets into like a submarine, or
It's like a submarine elevator.
yeah, basically, and it takes him to this underwater city, which is called Rapture. And there he's basically thrust like right in the middle of the story of the thing, or I guess the plot, right? Where there's this antagonistic character called was it Andrew Ryan?
Andrew Ryan.
Andrew Ryan, and basically Andrew Ryan is this guy who decided he wanted to create the city, and they advanced in they had some advancements in technology. They found this underwater sea slug that created this substance called Atom, which gave people these superpowers, and not superpowers, but like enhanced abilities.
Yeah.
And basically, he started getting really paranoid, and he didn't want to share any of this information with the people of the surface. And so he became sort of like this dictator style character, whereas like nobody can leave. And
Yes.
Obviously that brings an uprising from people One
Who
in
lived there?
one in particular being Fontaine,
Hmm.
and yeah, Fontaine, and another character that we hear a lot in the game, which is Atlas.
Yes.
Yeah, and keep going, keep going.
So when he started Rapture, it was supposed to be for the rich, and in the beginning, it was. But the problem is when you put a lot of people in a room together, there's always gonna be who's the alpha. So essentially, it got into this riot one day in New Year's Eve in 1958, I believe, or 1959 before it reached the 60s. And basically, they just all ended up destroying each other. Nobody left Rapture. Everybody got stuck there. And the only thing that was left was a bunch of splicers, which is these kind of
Genetic.
tweakers. They're like druggies. Basically, they run around just screaming at you, just like in the streets.
Yeah. Ah, yes. Don't we love getting yelled at or screamed at in the streets?
And obviously, you still have your dictator there and everybody else who works with him. And then you have something called Big Daddy and the Little Sister, which are these genetically modified human beings, basically,
Mhm.
where they grabbed Adam and they put it into a little girl so she can extract Adam from dead people. It's really interesting and gruesome stuff. And the Big Daddy is the protector of the little sister, so nobody would take their Adam away. And a Big Daddy is basically a human man who got what would you call it, like a submariner outfit, like a deep diver outfit.
Yeah, like a diver, like an old school diver suit.
Yeah, something like that, and it's attached to them. They've genetically modified it on them. They're basically not human anymore. They can't think for themselves.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's basically all you're stuck with, and you play as Jack as the main character. And your point in that story is to get out of there, obviously, to help Atlas as well. And it's one of those decision making games where you can either help the little sisters get rid of the atom, or you can just kill them and take the atom.
Right,
And
harvest them.
yes, that gives the BioShock two different endings. And I know a lot of games past that also did a lot of two different ending type stuff.
Hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
pretty interesting. It's a really good game.
Yeah, so like you said, basically, as the main character, you and Atlas in this case are trying to work together to pretty much, they're trying to topple Andrew Ryan. And obviously, as to not spoil things that occur in the game, if some of our viewers or writers ever decide to play it, if they've never played it, they can get that, obviously, that wow factor when things happen. Um, you know, the story progresses as Atlas helps you, and a lot of twists and turns happen. So yeah, basically we're gonna zip our mouths on that one, and let y'all enjoy that experience if you haven't. And for those of you who have, well, you know what we're talking about.
So unfortunately, the game has a trilogy collection available for the PS4. Still isn't available for the PS5 for those. So for those of you getting the newer consoles, might not be available, but it'll always be available, I think, for PC, or maybe it's just console. I think you could probably get it on PC.
Do you remember? Did it come out for both Xbox and PlayStation, or was it like an exclusive at one point?
I feel like at the very beginning it was exclusive to Xbox, but I don't think that lasted that long because it
Yeah,
went for PlayStation real quick.
yeah, I think so too. I remember when I was younger, when I first saw BioShock, it was with one of my best friends, Raul, and I remember we were kids, so I was sleeping over his place, and he put it on. He's like, dude, you got to check out this game. And he turns off the lights and shit, because it's like that's the thing you do, when you're with your
Yeah.
friends, and you're playing a scary game or watching a scary movie, you turn off all the lights. And he has me play it, because that's the way you do it. You give it to somebody, and you have them, you want to see their expression, because you used to play a scary game by yourself and you used to shit yourself, but it was even better when you gave it to your friends and you knew what was going to happen.
Yes, and you
So,
just watch.
so he gave it to me, and I think I played around for a little bit, and then I watched him play it, and I remember I'm just watching him play, and there's a part where he's like in a bathroom, and then he hears a noise, like a shriek, and he doesn't know where it's coming from. And then like he looks at a wall and he sees a shadow of like this lady, and she's like this holding something in her hand, dude. And when he turns around and sees her, we both freak out. It was such a crazy experience.
It is a very awesome game. I fell in love with the game, and actually, for those of you out there, I started with number two. I know, really kind of sad, but I did obviously after that, after I finished number two, I did play number one, and I did play number three. I had the trilogy, and it is one of my favorite games of all time. I honestly love it. I love the concept and the art designs, and I wish they would make another one, but we'll see what happens in the
Yeah,
future.
yeah. I mean, I know you're a big fan, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, that's true. I do have those. I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, definitely play it. Definitely check it out. It's worth the ride.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that basically covers BioShock. For for this week, we're not really gonna delve too much into it as to not spoil too much. I think we gave a pretty good coverage and a summary of what the game has
Without
to offer.
spoiling.
Yeah. So writers, make sure to like, comment, subscribe on this video. It'll help our channel out a lot. Make sure to comment down below. Tell us what your favorite BioShock game was in the franchise. Let us.
Or your favorite horror game.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Mm. Yeah, just
Thanks.
just let us know. As always, thank you for joining us in the ride today, and hopefully you'll join us next time here in
The
the
passenger
passenger
seat.
seat.